I tell you what, I am getting very close to 200 followers. I am only 10 away. Only 10 away. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys for the support. Welcome to A Ray of Sunshine, Season 3, Episode 22. I am A Ray of Sunshine 21, aka Raymond. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the show. And today is March 28th, so we are wrapping up uh, some positivity in the month of March as we head into April. Sharon, hello, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. So good to see you in here as always. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the people that are tuning in. I am on a little bit early tonight. If you didn't see the promos that I gave out earlier today, there's going to be 12 stories in a video tonight. So I came in fully loaded tonight. There we go. We're doing the Carlton here. We're coming in fully loaded tonight. So I got to get through 12 stories and then we're going to get to a video. In between stories, there will be some videos embedded. So we'll have a little bit of mixture of videos as well, but it's mainly going to be some stories tonight. I want to catch up for everything for the month of March. I think the last show we did mostly stories, but also a little bit of videos, and then of course the show before that we just did all videos. So we got to catch up on some stories for the month of March before that will exit as well. I will not be on next week, so that's why we're going to catch up on all the stories, and also we're going to end it out with the review of March and with positive stories. So that's the one video that I got queued up for tonight. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the stories that were picked out tonight, and also the reviews of the stories for the month of March, and maybe some we might hear from tonight as well. So stay tuned for that. All right. So no April Fools, no. No April Fools. No, 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 no. I'm going to avoid that. I am going to avoid some April Fools. So, but yeah, this will be the after this show, I'm going to take a break next week, and then I'll be back April 12th, I think. It'll be somewhere on the Discord. Somewhere on Stream Elements with the comments. It will pop up when the next show will be, but I think it's April 12th. So that gives us plenty of time to catch up again on stories and everything else. All right. So if you guys are ready, before we get started, make sure to auto host to your Twitch channels and make sure to share it out to your social medias like Facebook and Twitter as we try to spread some positivity in 2023. Now, how this show will go on tonight, I'm trying to do 6 stories, but I can go for long 7 stories, maybe 8. If I'm feeling lucky and I'm feeling great, maybe I'll do 8 stories. We'll get a little bit of an intermission so I can, I don't keep continuing on with the voice, and get a little bit of a break. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and complete the rest of the show. So my goal is to get through 7 or 8 stories before I go on intermission. And it should be about a 5-minute intermission at best. You will know if I come back because I'll probably play like a little bit of an ad for a minute. And that can be like a 1-minute warning, like, hey, I'm about to come back. So if you're not subscribed, you might get an ad somewhere during the break. So that way we can go on and finish up the stories and the videos. Go ahead and finish up the stories and the videos. And we'll try to have less interruption of the ads that Twitch put out. So that's the plan for tonight. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first story from this evening. And by the way, I did put hydrates back. I'm pretty sure one particular person will come in here and hydrate me, but this whole show tonight, we will be hydrated. I got 2 bottles of water ready for me just in case. So, I'm already going to drink one right now. So, again, the goal is 7 or 8 stories before we go on intermission, and then we'll do the rest of the show. All right? So, here we go. Our first story for this evening. She reunites families with lost heirlooms for free, returning over 500 items to thrilled relatives. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March the 8th of 2023. So if you guys are ready, let's get started with our first stories for this evening. Again, reunites families with lost heirlooms for free, returning over 500 items to thrilled relatives. So let's go ahead and meet this person and see where she's getting these heirlooms. So here we go. Chelsea Brown likes to travel flea markets and thrift shops for interesting items, but not for decorations or collections. As an amateur genealogist, she enjoys tracking down the owners or the descendants of the owners and reuniting them with their lost heirlooms. The Manhattan interior designer claims to have returned more than 500 objects to their owners, and she does it all for free. Quote, I love the thrill of the chase. I love to close out the mystery, says Brown. It's insane the things I have found. All of the Holocaust items I have been able to return have been special. After finding a telling clue on an object, she seeks out demographic information in city census records and other resources. This usually brings up a marriage certificate or another distinguishing legal document. She is then usually able to track down the owner and contact them about whatever it is she is trying to return, though she admits most people think it's a scam. Brown says that many of the same emotional dramas that can cause disruptions in relationships and households today were just as prevalent 100, sometimes 200 years ago. Continuing on, Kelsey has found hundreds of interesting items, including love letters from decades ago, which shows all the hallmarks of love struggles today, such as clinginess and ghosting. Quote, heartbreak, affairs, and family drama were all still happening then, says Brown. I think it comforts people to know if they don't get any contact with someone after going on a date that the exact same happened to them, to some in 1850, but with letters. Her specialization is typically letters, such as a romantic series during World War II, or a diary of two teenage lovers who drifted apart. Quote, I found this amazing one written by a woman who was in a long distance relationship. It was full of love letters and poems, she said. They decided to end their relationship, but then I found out they got back together years later and are married with 6 kids. It's really exciting returning them to the families. All this digging through the past has given her the idea to write a time capsule book. So imagine that, finding letters from 200, 300 years ago, love letters, right, past relationships. Could be their grandparents, great grandparents, or something, um, and other interesting things that she finds. And I'm trying to find the people and contact them. It's like, hey, I got this artifact here from your from your great 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 grandparents, for example, and it could be a love letter from the past or anything from the past that will resembles a family heirloom. So very interesting um, stuff that she's doing there. To reconnect the past. It's more like Ancestry.com, but more of she's finding this stuff for real and all of that. And now she's going to make a kind of like a book out of it as well. So very interesting stuff that Miss Chelsea Brown is doing there. So a good story to start out here. She reunites families with lost heirlooms for free, returning over 500 items to thrill relatives. And this is for Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 8th of 2023. As we move on to story number 2 for this evening, and this is something very, very interesting, and some stories I have done in the past recently of senior citizens, elderly people. They're up, they're at it, they're doing amazing stuff, um, interesting stuff. You would think you would do in your 40s or 30s, 40s, or maybe in your 20s. And they're continuing to do it today. So Our next person is an 80-year-old woman, celebrates doing a 5K every day since the pandemic, and she has done it 1,000 in a row. And this is for any quarterly of the Good News Network for March 8th of 2023. And I did not plug the Good News Network at the first story, but check out the goodnewsnetwork.org. They got a lot of good stories from today through last week, last month, last year, all the way back to years of positive stories. I have done a broadcast once when I went all the way back to like the 90s and early 2000s. They still had stories up there from then. So a lot of good stories on that website. So make sure to check them out. Goodnewsnetwork.org. All right. So again, an 80-year-old woman celebrates during a 5K every day since the pandemic, and she has done it 1,000 times in a row. That's incredible. So we're going to go ahead and get started, meet this wonderful lady here. And if you guys are ready, we'll go ahead and hydrate again. So here we go. A Cherokee woman determined not to let the pandemic get her down began running or walking a 5K every day for 100 days. Through lockdowns, Alpha, Delta, Omicron, and beyond, May Dean Erb kept on running until she completed her 1,000th 5K last Friday, 2 months short of her 80th birthday. Quote, I don't know how she managed to do a 5K walk or run every single day for the last 1,000 days, but she did, Erb's daughter, Julie Erb Alvarez, told GNN. Her milestone was celebrated by a gathering of friends and family, even some virtually. She is our hero. A member of the Cherokee Nation, Erb lives with her husband of 56 years, Jim Erb, in a rural town called Black Gum, near her hometown of Vane, Oklahoma. Frank, what's up? What's up, Frank? She has by no means stopped doing these continuous 5Ks. And in fact, at the time of publishing, she would be on her 1006th, noting that good habits are as hard to break as bad habits. Quote, I don't hurt anywhere. I have knee issues every once in a while with, I guess, age. But it's a really wonderful thing, walk or run, to do, she told the Cherokee Phoenix. So this is Herb right there. Right there. Oh, Kawaii Bella, hey, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the show. And I will get to you in a minute, Kawaii. But there's Mrs. Herb there as we continue along with the story. Quote, it's just something you should do for yourself and your family. And when you have a 4-year-old grandson, you want to stay young enough to pick him up and run with him and catch him if he's going in the wrong direction. She often runs and walks with her friends who note that she's going out for a walk. Doesn't even feel like a walk anymore unless it's 5K. Julie notes that May has become an inspiration to the whole community, not least to herself, who wants to be just like her mom when she reaches her golden years. So imagine that. An 80-year-old, Mrs. Herb here, 80 years old, does a 5K every day for 1,000 days in a row. Now she's going on 1,006 and probably beyond. Probably as the reading of the story. Um, but that's incredible. And she's done it during the pandemic and all of that as well. So just an incredible feat. I mean, and an 80-year-old woman. And again, it's part of you have to stay fit, staying healthy. Maybe that's what was in her mind. Maybe she didn't want to stay home during the lockdown. I kind of don't mind her for not that. I think stay home for a while. We all, of course, when we did the pandemic, for some of us, we get mind bottled, homesick, all of that. Well, not homesick, but cabin fever. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So, so what she's doing, I mean, doing a 5K every day for 1,000 days in a row and continuing going, it's very, very incredible. So, kudos to her. I hope she gets to 2,000 because that's amazing. Very, very amazing. So, 80-year-old woman celebrates doing a 5K every day since pandemic, 1,000 in a row. And this is for Annie Corbett of the Good News Network for March 8th of 2023. I am going to go ahead and load up story number 3 real quick. Before Frank is in here. Hello, Frank. Hopefully you're doing good. And also, everyone meet Kawhi Bella, 21. Um, she's mentioning here, M. Good thinks, at least I saw you streaming. We've met at Jenny Bell's stream the other day. Yes. Oh, and Ray's in here. Hey, the other Ray is in here. All the Jenny Bell music people are in here. Hey there, Ray, and also good to see you, sir. So good to see you as well. Thank you so much. Hello, we need to do a WrestleMania prediction show. You know what, Frank? You know what, Frank? I probably might do that. I might surprise you and do that. So, we got to do some shout outs real quick, guys. We got to do some shout outs. Um, so, Kawhi Bell, I'm gonna, we're going to do some shout outs. Kawhi Bella 21 is new here on Twitch. Thank you, Frank, for the other shout out. She is new here on Twitch. She does singing. She is from the Philippines as well. So make sure to give her a follow. I think she's affiliate now. I wonder if you have hit affiliate yet, Kawhi. Um, so if she is affiliated, that's awesome. But make sure to follow her. And when she goes live, make sure to watch her. I'm going to make sure to watch her as well. Um, so make sure to follow her. She's new here. Give her a warm welcome. You know how I am. Um, we're a Twitch community. We're trying to support people. So make sure to watch her when she goes live and give her a follow and give her some support here. We're good people here on Twitch. And Rayvon, he is out in the UK, and I met him as well on Jenny Bell's broadcast. So the other Ray uh, in her broadcast. So we're the Rays versus the Robs on her broadcast there. So make sure you give him a warm welcome as well. And I think Frank gave him a shout out as well. I'll probably give him a shout out later on with the Twitch thing there. But um, Twitch has a time limit on follows and all that stuff. So, or shout outs. So uh, make sure to give him a follow as well. And maybe he will live stream as well. I think he's a live streamer as well. So make sure to give him a follow as well. And since we're talking about Jenny Bell real quick, um, I'm just out with shout outs today. I want to give her a shout out as well because she's an awesome person. Um, very, very awesome person, a talented singer. Make sure to give Miss Jenny Bell Music a follow. She is out in the Philippines as well, and tell you guys, I want to follow and watch her. Here on the East Coast, she comes on about 11 a.m. So, but I think she's going to play around with the time a little bit. But I could give you 11 a.m. as a start. So make sure to follow her. She's a wonderful, talented person, talented singer. You won't regret it. So give her a follow as well. All right. I've done my shout outs. It's so good to see everybody in here, though. Thank you guys so much for being in here. Ray, Kwai. Um, it's 8 a.m. over there, too. So kudos to you. Good morning to you, Kwai. Frank and Sharon. Thank y'all so much for being in here. And for anybody else lurking, thank you guys so much for being in here. And Frank, we will get to that WrestleMania prediction show. I can't do it tonight, but I'll let you know. If you want to join, I'll set up the StreamYard and we can do it. All right. So, that being said, we are going to go on to story number 3. And again, guys, if you're just joining us, I have to do 12 stories tonight. So, what I'm trying to do is, my goal is to get through 7 to 8 stories, and then we can go to a little bit of an intermission, and then we can finish the rest of the show. So, the month of March had a lot of good stories. So, it's kind of a story kind of night tonight. So, Hopefully, you guys will enjoy the stories being provided tonight, and hopefully be amazed at some of these stories. It can range from different types of stories, or heroics to being lucky, finding things, reuniting people. That's a few examples that you might get tonight from some of these stories. So the next one, story number 3, a Boeing employee buys winning ticket on a hunch when lottery hits 747 million, just like the jets she helped make. And this is for Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 9th of 2023. And again, guys, make sure to check out thegoodnewsnetwork.org. It is a very, very good website. Always good stories on there. And don't want to hear any bad stories, go to this website. It's a very, very good website to be on. And also here, too, I will share their stories as well and also have some good stories on here as well. All right. See if you guys are ready. We're going to hydrate again one more time. But yeah, Sharon, 747. That's amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. A 36-year-old Boeing employee noticed at a local grocery store in her hometown of Auburn, Washington, that the Powerball jackpot had reached $747 million. In a nod to her place of work, she decided to buy a ticket after the number of Boeing's premier jumbo passenger jet, the 747. And another coincidence, the jackpot had reached $747 million the week in which Boeing sold its last 747 ever. A believer in fate might say it was meant to be, since winner Becky Ball had already spent the weekly allocation she gives herself for buying lottery tickets. But noticing the connection with her job, she had to buy one more ticket when she saw the number at her local Fred Meyer grocery store. Becky Ball has released no statements, interviews, or information about herself, but has told reporters privately that she intends to share the money throughout her extended family. Continuing on, she had planned to retire at the end of June, but will instead advance that date to March, following her choice to claim the lottery as a lump sum rather than in increments, which after taxes is around $309 million. Despite the drastic reduction, she could still afford a Boeing 747 and have money left over to live comfortably until the end of her days. The Fred Meyer store received a $50,000 gift from the state lottery for being the one who sold the winning ticket, which they plan to donate to feed the homeless and needy, as well as a $10,000 party thrown for the associates of the store. And we're about to go ahead and look at the at the video here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this wonderful story. All right, here we go.
Of last month's $754 million Powerball jackpot is now being revealed.
So the winner came forward to collect their prize this week after buying that winning ticket in Auburn back on February 5th. King 5's Connor Board joins us live now from the Washington Lottery headquarters in Olympia. So Connor, what do we know about this lucky winner?
About 1 month ago, an Auburn resident named Becky Bell bought a lottery ticket that would change her life. Just this past Tuesday, she came here to the lottery headquarters in Olympia to claim her big prize. Now, she'd been playing the lottery for years, and the biggest prize she had ever won was $20 until now. And we did not get to talk to Becky today, but we did talk to lottery officials about the big win. A $754 million check won by a Boeing employee who bought the winning Powerball ticket at a Fred Meyer in Auburn.
Her daughter wanted to go to the grocery store and buy some more tickets.
Becky Bell has worked for Boeing as a supply chain analyst for nearly 36 years. That's why when she saw what number the jackpot was up to at Fred Meyer on February 5th, she knew she had to buy a ticket.
She saw that the estimated jackpot at that time was $747 million. And Boeing, where she's worked for over 30 years, had just rolled out the very last 747 airplane that they will ever make.
The winner was drawn the next night, and then the following morning, she realized she was the winner.
Finally, she called her mom. She said, "Mom, I think I've won."
Becky had already been planning to retire from Boeing in June, but now she will retire at the end of the month once she trains other employees to take over. The money will be split among her 3 children, her sisters, and her mother.
She's just salt of the earth. Just one of those really smart, wonderful people.
Now, Becky chose to do the lump sum option, which means you get the prize immediately in cash. So that means she walked away from this office with $309 million. In Olympia, Connor Board, King 5 News.
So how about that? $747 million, and she works at Boeing 747. Amazing. But I think they said she's getting $339 million after taxes because, we got to pay her taxes. But that's still comfortably good to retire off of, pretty much. And she gets to push back her retirement date from June to this month. So that's very, very lucky, I will say, at least, in kind of a rarity that you work for an airplane company, you do 747s and you win $747 million. Very, very interesting and kind of a weird coincidence as well at the same time. But kudos to Miss Ball there, and hopefully she's enjoying retirement if she has started retirement already. So Boeing employee buys winning ticket on hunch when lottery hits $747 million, just like the check she helped make. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 9th of 2023. As we will move on to story number 4. And let's get the comments real quick. Let's see. Ray says, wow, I hope that improves her happiness. I'm pretty sure it would. $747 million. I'm pretty sure that will definitely improve her happiness very well. Yes, thank you, Ray, for following Kawhi. She's a great, great person. And got Sharon said that's nice there. So yeah. So and everybody's meeting each other there. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So definitely will help anybody. I will agree there, Ray. It will definitely help anybody that would have won it. All right. So story number 4 here. Continuing on with the show. Love. Love does not have an age. Love does not have a limit. You could be like this couple here, in their 80s and tied a knot. And this is what we're going to have here. Lovebirds tied a knot in their 80s after meeting on a dating website. Imagine that. Bride highly recommends it, by the way. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 10th of 2023. Finding love on the internet in your 80s. How about that? So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with story number 4 for this evening as we are rolling along with the show tonight. A pair of geriatric lovebirds tied the knots in their 80s after they fell for each other on an internet dating site. Excuse me. The besought 85-year-old Tricia Shaw admitted she was smitten at first sight when she went online and found her toy boy, 82-year-old Ian. Continuing on, Ian felt there was something about her and had to accept her offer of meeting up, and Tricia, who previously met 4 potential suitors online, said she was left wobbly at the knees when she first tucked into a fish supper with him. The couple, who now lives together, went ahead with their wedding in February after Ian was diagnosed with heart disease and needed a risky bypass operation. Tricia now believes more octogenarians should embrace online matchmaking after the pair enjoyed a magical wedding in front of 115 guests. Quote, I highly recommend online dating because you tick so many boxes before you even meet, said Tricia, who worked at times as a private detective. You can tell you've got a lot in common. The wedding was the most magical time of my life. Everything was spot on, and I couldn't have imagined anything as wonderful. Uh, Continue on. Great grandmother of five, Tricia, from Lancashire, England, came across Ian's profile after going on the dating platform Plenty More Fish 7 years ago. Oh, okay, I know there's a plenty of fish, but they got a plenty more fish. It must be a UK thing. Um, I'll check my app store afterwards. Anyway, moving on. She joined the site after losing her previous husband of 33 years and had met a handful of men before messaging Ian, who had been previously married for 35 years and was originally from Glasgow. The relationship got off to a rocky start, and Ian ignored her first text at the start of his 7-day walking holiday. But he was intrigued when Tricia asked to get in touch and wrote again after completing his hike. So there's the happy couple there with their wedding photo there. I think they're about to get hitched, by the way. As we continue on with the story. Quote, the message arrived just as I was getting on a train, and I thought, well, this will keep until I get back home, said Ian. But later I got a message from Tricia saying, I can't believe you haven't been in touch, and I thought this one has got something about her. Tricia said it was love at first sight, he said. She fell for me straight away, and I also liked her from the word go. The wedding meant everything to me. The love-struck pair, moved in together 14 months later and had made plans to marry sometime in the future. But when Ian got the news that he would need a heart bypass operation, they decided to press ahead with their wedding, which eventually took place on February 10th of this year. Over 100 friends and family showed up for the wedding, where Tricia was given away by her son Timothy and grandson Henry. Quote, I have no family, but Tricia has an enormous family. All of them came in loads of friends. There were 115 eventually. So this is a good love story. Like I said, love doesn't have no limits on what age you are and everything. And look at them; they're in their 80s and they're getting married, and they met online. Um, how many people? How many 80-year-olds will say, "Hey, I met my spouse online"? How many would say that? And Trisha recommends it as well. So I'm not too into the whole dating website thing though, but um, success has come from it. I will say that, but I'm the type of person like, hey, if I see a person in real life, we, you know, get some kind of connection and going together, then that's something I would like. So, um, but that's different. People have different things about that, but this is just incredible and amazing to read and to think again. In your 80s and you meet on a dating website, and now they're married. So, pretty impressive stuff. So, lovebirds tied a knot in their 80s after meeting on a dating website. Bright highly recommends it. And again, this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 10th of 2023. All right, we're going to move on to story number 5 for this evening. And let's go ahead and take a look at comments real quick before we get started on our next story. Kwai Bella says, I'm not yet affiliated, but it almost may be. Okay. Let's see. So you got your 50 followers. So the next thing is, did you have your 3 average viewers? And there's one more thing. There's one more thing. Oh, I think they're the days. Did you do 7 days of streaming? So I think it's 50 followers. You have to have 3 average viewers and 7 days of streaming. So let's see here. So let's see. Wow, I hope the prince are happy. Okay, so while it's the same here, Raven, glad to meet you here. Got a little, yeah. So yeah, I'm glad y'all are meeting each other up on here. So good. Um, Connecting people. That's the beauty of the show. I want people to connect, and follow new streamers that are trying to make it on here in Twitch. That's the beauty of the show, and beauty of why I do this as well, to meet new people and have a good community here. Yeah, Frank's is 7 days, 50 followers. She has her 50 followers, so that's over. And 3 average viewers. Yes. So I should took me 3 years. Yeah, but you got it, Frank. You almost gave up. If it wasn't for me, you would have went. You would have gave up. You would have gave up. So I told you, Frank, don't give up. And then you became affiliate. So, um, so never give up, because something you never know. It can happen. It can happen. And I know it took 3 years, but I told you it was going to happen, and it happened. All right. And it wasn't even this name that got me affiliate. Yeah, it was old Frank's here. But you got affiliated though. So Quiet says, yeah, I need it. I need it more to views my stream. Thanks for the shout out. I hope you can follow me too. Yeah, I followed you, Kawhi. I followed you. Yeah, I definitely followed you. Um, yeah, and I said whenever you go live, I'll make sure to be there. I'll try to be there, depending on what time. We're at a 12-hour difference, but I will be on your stream and help you out with the viewership if you need it there. All right. So let's move on to story number. I think we're on number 4, 5. Where are we? Hold on for a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on number 5. We're trucking along here, so that's good. So we're kind of almost near the halfway point, depending on how I'm feeling. And right now, I'm feeling good with these stories right now. So story number 5: DNA from 4 U.S. presidents, including George Washington, set to blast into space with DNA from space pioneers. And this is for Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 10th of 2023. So we got DNA from 4 U.S. presidents that went into space. This is kind of incredible. I like to do a little bit of science news, but I had to look at this. I said, this is kind of interesting. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and take a look at this story here. Again, this is story number 5 of 12 tonight here on A Ray of Sunshine. We might want to read this. Reprinted with alterations from World at Large, an independent news outlet that covers conflict, nature, travel, health, fitness, and more. All right. So it kind of has a little backstory with another organization on this story. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. Aliens will come. So the moon will have George Washington, and we'll see who the other presidents are. All right, here we go. The DNA of George Washington will join that of the creator of Star Trek on a spacecraft for launch later this year. Wow, George Washington and Gene Roddenberry. Who would have thought that? Hair samples from Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, and a completed human genome are also on board humanity's first deep space time capsule, set to be launched into space on a rocket carrying an important lunar lander as a primary mission. Um, Houston Memorial Spaceflight Company, Solitas Incorporated, typically blasts urns of cremated ashes into space. This is interesting. This year, Enterprise mission reflects most of what's great about the modern space industry and science fiction fans. When Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry died in 1991, it was 6 years later that some of his ashes were launched into deep space by Cletus in what most people found a fitting end for the science fiction titan. That's interesting. Wow. Now his wife, Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who passed away in 2008, will join her husband's ashes floating around space when hers are launched aboard a Vulcan rocket. Vulcan rocket. This is neat. As well as being sent up to space with the ashes of Star Trek actor James Scotty Doohan, Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura on Star Trek, DeForest Kelley, who played the Doctor on Star Trek, Bones. The mission will also be sporting a state-of-the-art moon lander designed by Astrobotics for payload missions to the moon. So I'm assuming, what is this here? U.S. presidents and Star Trek founders' DNA samples. That is their DNA samples. That is all of their DNA samples in that one container there. Incredible. Continuing on, in total, 150 ash-containing capsules will be launched into space, which also include the Apollo astronaut Philip Chapman and special effects master Douglas Trumbull, who worked on 2001: A Space Odyssey and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Altogether, the payload is one that celebrates fiction and fact, as well as the unquenchable enthusiasm of spacebound firms and science sci-fi fans. Two groups that largely intersect, evidenced by the fact that the rocket is called a Vulcan and the mission is called Enterprise. Quote, "We're very pleased to be fulfilling with this mission a promise I made to Majel Barrett Roddenberry in 1997 that one day we will fly her and her husband, Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry, together on a Deep Space Memorial spaceflight," said Celitis co-founder and CEO Charles M. Schaefer. The mission is named Enterprise in tribute to them. Later this year, a United Launch Alliance Vulcan Cantor rocket on its maiden voyage will lift off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, and after putting the Peregrine 1 lunar lander on course for its rendezvous with the moon, it will continue into a heliocentric solar orbit around the sun. The Enterprise flight will be renamed Enterprise Station once it arrives to become humankind's furthest outpost, where it will journey endlessly, perhaps awaiting discovery by a distant and time civilization, says Celitis. Some pretty incredible stuff to read there. How about that? DNA samples going into space. I don't know how I would feel about that, to be honest with you, but it's kind of interesting. So, again, you got the Star Trek actors, and then you got 4 U.S. presidents. George Washington, Ronald Reagan, Dwight Eisenhower, and John F. Kennedy. All of them are going into space. I think they named the ship the Enterprise as well, and all of that's going to space. So, what Ray says, aliens will clone them. So imagine having George Washington, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, and John F. Kennedy all back, and they running the moon. Think about that. And then they could do Star Trek again over there. That'll be the first show the moon has, Star Trek. And you got Scotty, you got Uhura, and you got Dr. Bones. Pretty incredible. Kind of interesting, but I don't know. Is this the thing now? Like, hey, if we pass away, are we going to go up to space now? Some of our clone DNA goes into space. I don't know. Things can change. Things are new and can change. So, Sharon says it's kind of weird. It is. And Ray says, I'd like to follow the space tech. Yeah, it's. I'm with you, Sharon. It is kind of weird, but at the same time, could this be something they'll do in the future? Like, hey, they take my DNA and they can go into space. I mean, hell, if I can't go to space, hell, my DNA can. So I guess I'll be happy with that if I'm deceased. So I don't know. Uh, it breaks his DNA to space, Jesus. Yeah. So I don't know. It does sound kind of weird. Alien babies. So we'll see. Hopefully this will be some national news. Hopefully soon. So very very interesting stuff. So DNA from 4 U.S. presidents, including George Washington, set to blast into space with DNA from space pioneers. And this is Andy Corbley on the Good News Network for March 10th of 2023. Very interesting stuff, I will say. Very, very interesting stuff. All right, let's move on to story number 6. In national news, it could be It could be national news. I don't know. I would like to see that on TV, to be honest with you. That's something very, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So story number 6. We're on number 6. So I kind of say I want to go halfway. Let's see if I can muster through this and can do one or two more stories before I go into the intermission. And we kind of are making good time right now. So very incredible. An 81-year-old survives nearly a week stuck in a snowbank with only croissants and candy. And this is from the Good News Network from March 12th of 2023. So this is where a little bit of heroics come in. I like to do a little bit of kind of like a situational thing, and there's some heroics coming into these stories. So again, a week stuck in a snowbank with croissants and candy. So let's go ahead and take a look at this story. Frank, stop. Let's go ahead and take a look at this story here. Here we go. An 81-year-old man survived on croissants, candy, and biscotti after a snowstorm left him stranded on a desolate California highway alone for nearly a week. Jerry Jarrett's family eventually called the Inyo County Sheriff's Office to report a missing person after the mathematician and former NASA employee never made it to his destination of Gardnerville, 3 hours away from his mountain house in Big Pine. Apparently, he had set off in good weather. There was a snowstorm in the forecast, but Jarrett thought he could arrive safely before the winter weather began. Over the following days, a series of winter storms continued to affect the region, which delayed the county's search and rescue team from launching a search along Highway 168 for a day. On March 1st, 5 days after Mr. Jarrett set out, 2 attempts to find him were unsuccessful. However, on March 2nd, with support from California Highway Patrol helicopters, they identified, a cellular ping from his phone somewhere in the Gilbert Pass area. CNN reports that the petite man was ill-prepared for the weather, wearing only a light windbreaker, a light quilt, and a hotel bath towel were the only things Jarrett had to keep himself warm. Continuing on, he smartly conserved his car battery and gas for several days, only starting the SUV's engine periodically to warm up. He rolled down his window occasionally to eat snow, but that survival technique to keep himself hydrated backfired on the 3rd day when the battery died while rolling up the window. That's probably when he wished modern cars also featured non-electric manual crank windows in case of emergency, because it then remained open a few inches for the remainder of his ordeal. Amid the search, one of the helicopter pilots spotted something he initially thought was a large rock, reported CNN. A closer look revealed a vehicle, and the pilot spotted an arm waving out the small opening in the car window. Continuing on, miraculously, the senior was discharged from the hospital later that evening, suffering only from dehydration. The Inyo County Sheriff's Office shared the story on Facebook, saying, "The success of this mission was the result of the many volunteers who commit their personal time to serve as members of Inyo County Search and Rescue Sheriff's Office, CHP air operators, Caltrans District 9, as well as many members of the community, both near and far, who offered planning, logistical, and moral support." There we go. I thought I would get that word out. Officials took the opportunity to remind everyone to always be prepared for unexpected events and have a safety plan in place when traveling through the mountains. Check out the 7 things. Well, okay, that's an old story probably. If it is snowing, make sure you are prepared and bring extra supplies with you. So that's very important stuff the sheriff's office brought there. Snow can happen, and especially in California. I think the past few weeks they have been under a cold snap. They had snow, and snow you will never think you will see snow in Los Angeles. Who would think it will snow in Los Angeles? But it did happen. So so he came prepared, and luckily, in his defense, he kind of did do stuff smartly, saved his battery, um, tried to get some snow so he could try to be hydrated and all of that. And and unfortunately, of course, the battery died on him the third day, and with the electric windows now, so he got stuck probably with snow and all of that to in the cold weather. So, but they say he survived with croissants and candy and biscotti. So, at least he had some food. At least for a couple days he kept warm. But he didn't have enough fluids in him. So the only thing is he was dehydrated. But other than that, he's fine. He's healthy. He's doing good. And again, if you got to travel out to the snowstorms, be prepared because you never know, right? Never know what could happen. So, but story number 6 here: 81-year-old survives nearly a week stuck in a snowbank with only croissants and candy. And this is from the Good News Network for March 12th of 2023. All right. So let's see. Let's see if I can do number. Let's see where we're going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let's see if I can do number 7 here. Let's see if I can do number 7. So story number 7. And if I'm feeling lucky, then I'll do story number 8. How about that? And then we'll go to our little halftime here. Story number 7 for this evening. A hero passerby scales building in China. Save boy who fell out window onto a ledge. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 13th of 2023. So looking at the pictures, it looks kind of incredible. And wow. So let's take a look at this heroic story here, because definitely we'll have some heroics here. Again, a hero passerby scales building in China to save a boy who fell into a ledge. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with story number 7. Here we go. It's time for a redo of Spider-Man, but this time in Mandarin. A man hailed as a hero climbed the side of a building as easily as if he himself were the web-spinning wonder to rescue a toddler that had fallen out of a building window onto a ledge. In the city of Chengdu, a casually dressed middle-aged man was videotaped scaling a pipe to reach the second-floor ledge of a building where a child was crying, having previously fallen out of a window another floor above. Once there, he edges along the ledge to reach the platform and secure the child, whereby a man from the window above lowers a rope to hoist the child back up to what is presumably his home. Continuing on, the hero, smiling, returned via the same pipe after brushing his hands. According to the South China Morning Post, the identity of the good Spider Samaritan is still unknown, and the child suffered only a few scratches. In China, it's said of society, love the children, honor the elders, which is beautifully encapsulated in this short rescue. So we're going to have a video here of the man saving the child here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video. very interesting stuff there. So, um, like I always say with these heroic stories, right place at the right time. Um, just so lucky to have a Samaritan to help the children out, the child out in that ledge there. It's just amazing reading these heroic stories and so much they have to go through to save someone. And I always say, right place at the right time. And this is again another situation of right place at the right time. So, um, kudos to that Samaritan. Just saving the child there, and what it's kind of a terrifying thing to have to see and to witness, and then you have to come quick into action to save the child's life. So very, very incredible. So again, kudos to him. And again, a hero passerby scales building in China to save boy who fell out the window onto a ledge. And again, this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 13th of 2023. Now, let's see. You know what? I might can do number 8 before we do the intermission. Why not? Let's do it. Wow, exactly not sure I could have done that. Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like, it's very, very incredible. Just that you have to be on the know. Like, okay, this person really needs attention, help, and the next thing you got to be in the action to save someone's life there. So it's always he's got to be prepared. Be prepared. Look around our surroundings because anybody could need help. As you see a kid from a ledge, someone could be choking on the food, and you got to learn the Heimlich and all of that stuff. So, um, got to be in action. That's all I say. um, to help people. And, sometimes we have to be the people to help them out. Sometimes if no one else can. So, very interesting stuff here. Chris, hey Chris, how you doing? Welcome to the program, man. So good to see you. How are you? It's been a while. So good to see you. You're coming just in time. This is story number 8 coming up, and then we're going to take a little bit of an intermission. As I'm doing 12 stories tonight, and we're going to do a video of a wrap up of all the stories in the month of March. So good to see you. So good. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing good. Staying busy. Still doing the show, but staying busy and trying to live the life. That's all I can tell you. So good to see you. Chris has been a great supporter of the show since day one when I was on HAPS. So good to see you in here, Chris. So good to see you. And 3D printing. Chris, uh, the stories that I bring up on this show of 3D printing is amazing. Buildings, cars, batteries. Last week I did a rocket. They literally launched. I think they probably have launched a rocket made by 3D printing. It's amazing. And now we got something else new. A new tool can 3D bioprint inside human body to construct natural tissue-like structures. And this is from the Good News Network from March 14th of 2023. Ella! Hey Ella, how you doing? Welcome. So good to see everybody in here. How you doing, Ella? Happy Tuesday. Hopefully you're doing good. Over in sunny California. And guys, make sure to visit mybunnyvalentine.com. um, Great stuff over there. Like this nice little bunny here that can play music and all of that. Jim tried this one time. I haven't played this in a while. It might still work.
Or off.
See?
Bluetooth mode.
So it still works. So and power it off. Okay. Because I got Bluetooth over this place, and then next thing you know, to play some music. But make sure to follow mybunnyvalentine.com and support Ella. And the money will go on to Bunny rescues and missions and all of that. So so good to see you here. Thank you for the shameless plugs. No problem. Chris says, I heard they are implementing brain cells into a 3D structure to make a computer. Hold on. To make a computer that plays Pong with itself. Oh, really? Wow. That's incredible. Maybe it could be in this story. I don't know. But that's kind of very interesting. Wow. 3D structuring the brains and make them play Pong. Again, 3D printing. 3D printing, that's the future. It's the future. So, very interesting. So, all right. So we're going to get through this story, and then afterwards, I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I am doing 12 stories. This is number 8, so I'm surprised I'm doing number 8 right now. I've made it this far. So, if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and start story number 8, and right up Chris Alley here, 3D printing and making human tissues in 3D. So let's go ahead and get started with it. As well, what they can do with robots these days. A new device that acts as a 3-in-1 surgical tool can also 3D print living cells inside the human body in real time. Developed by engineers from University of New South Wales, Sydney, the device includes a water jet, scalpel, and endoscopic camera. 3D bioprinting is a process whereby biomedical parts are fabricated from so-called bioink to form natural tissue-like structures. Bioprinting is predominantly used for research purposes such as tissue engineering and in the development of new drugs. It normally requires the use of large 3D printing machines to produce cellular structures outside the living body. Continuing on, the research team tested the device inside an artificial colon where it was able to traverse through confined spaces before successfully 3D printing. The new research from UNSW Medical Robotics Lab, led by Dr. Tan No Do and his PhD student Mai Tan Tai, is in collaboration with other researchers from UNSW. Their work has resulted in a tiny, flexible 3D bioprinter that has the ability to be inserted into the body just like an endoscope and directly deliver multi-layered biomaterials onto the surface of internal organs and tissues. The proof of concept device, known as F3DB, features a highly maneuverable swivel head that prints the bioink, attached to the end of a long and flexible snake-like robotic arm, all of which can be controlled externally. The research team says that with further development and potentially within 5 to 7 years, the technology could be used by medical professionals to access hard-to-reach areas inside the body via small skin incisions or natural orifice. All right, continue on. Dr. Du and his team have tested their device inside an artificial colon, as well as 3D printing a variety of materials with different shapes on the surface of a pig's kidney. Quote, existing 3D bioprinting techniques require biomaterials to be made outside the body, and implementing that into a person will usually require large open-field open surgery, which increases infection risks, says Dr. Du. Our flexible 3D bioprinter means biomaterials can be directly delivered into the target tissue or organs with a minimally invasive approach. This system offers the potential for the precise reconstruction of three-dimensional wounds inside the body, such as gastric wall injuries or damage and disease inside the colon. The next stage of development for the system, which has been granted a provisional patent, is in vivo testing on living animals to demonstrate its practical use. The researchers also plan to implement additional features such as an integrated camera and real-time scanning system, which could reconstruct the 3D tomograph of the moving tissue inside the body. Now, our next video, new robot can 3D bioprint inside a human body. So maybe we might get a glimpse of how it works in this video coming up here. So um, again, some interesting stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video here. All right, so y'all might hear a train coming up. So I'm gonna try to see if I can talk to it, but I think the train will beat me to it. But um, very incredible stuff from that video there. It's very amazing that now 3D printing can make body tissues, cells, um, just amazing stuff to think of that. And just again, like I told Chris, it's amazing to see all of this 3D stuff, like buildings, cars, batteries. Now we're talking about human organs that can be made inside the body. There's the train, but um, it's just incredible stuff. And like I said, 3D is the future right now of stuff. So that's some incredible, amazing work um, by 3D printing. Just amazing work, and I admire it so much. And Chris, you're in here, by the way. I know Nancy. If you know Nancy in Wisconsin last week, she said, "I don't know nothing about 3D printing." And I said, Nancy, I know if you know Chris, Retro Maker TV, I bet he could tell you everything about 3D printing. He can tell you that. So, know what I mean? It wouldn't be a surprise if Nancy came in here this evening. So, let's see. Chris says also saw that they are developing data storage using DNA. Large amounts can be stored in a very, very tiny DNA cell. It's also crazy. Yeah, it's very crazy. It's wow. It's amazing. Just amazing. No bio 3D printing though. Maybe someday. Yeah. Probably no to the bio printing, but I mean anything 3D printing. Say like your creations. I mean, I'm pretty sure she wants to know the graphs of, hey, how you do this, you know? So it's something to learn. Something to learn, and every time you do your art with 3D printing, and it comes out very realistic, I'm just amazed. So, like I said, 3D printing is probably it's going to be the future. It's going to be the future. I will say that at least and at most. All right, so we're at number 8. So we're going to pause here because I said story number 8. We're going to rest the voice for a few minutes, and then we'll get back. We got 4 more stories, and then we'll close it out with the positive stories for the month of March, and then we're going to wrap up the show and do some community stuff. So stick around. Get yourself some water, bathroom break. Always go to Guinea Bell's show and say, hey, it's a bathroom break. So we'll go ahead. It's going to be a 5-minute break. And if you're not subscribed, you'll get notified. Probably there's not a ad break coming up. Hold on. Let me see. Right, say that. Oh, the next one's the 6th, so I can run an ad and to do a 1-minute warning. I'll come back. So, um, let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna go ahead and pause. We'll take a 5, and then when we come back, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. All right. So stick around. I will play some music in the background as well. Um, we're gonna play some music in the background as well. Let me get to this. Go ahead. Come on. There we go. So we're gonna play some music in the background as well, and yeah. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, I am back. Hopefully, I can hear me. By the way, I had to actually put in an output on the Be Right Back. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't, and I rarely use it. But I am back. Chris, thank you for the stretch. You know what? We're going to do that right now before we head on to our next story. So, thank you very much for that. A little bit of stretching, a little bit of exercise. We're almost to the home stretch, guys. So, appreciate you guys, and we're making it on time with time as well. So, awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad that I came in a little bit early tonight. a.m., 7:45. So we get to rest the voice a little bit. And usually during this point, I think there's going to be a little bit more video than story on this next go round. So, like I said earlier, at the beginning of the broadcast, although I only got one video, there could be some videos in the stories as well. So, I think these few last ones will contain some videos. I know one has a good lengthy video in it, and which is about 8 minutes, and it's a trailer to a show that I will read as well. So yeah. So we're almost to the home stretch of the show, and I thank you guys so much for being here. Sharon, Chris, Ray, Frank. He's probably out watching wrestling right now. And who else? Kwai Bella. Thank you, Kwai Bella. I think she might have went off. It's almost 9 a.m. over there in the Philippines, so maybe she's busy over there now. But and many of you that are lurking, thank you so much for being in here. Really do appreciate you guys so much. And Ella was in here. She's still in here. There you go. I didn't forget you, Ella. So she's still in here. So thank you guys for being here. Really do appreciate you. All right. So if you guys are ready, and she's lurking. All right. No problem, Ella. Always appreciate the lurkers. Always appreciate them. All right. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and finish out the show here, shall we? We're on story number 9 of 12 right now. And our next story, when it comes up, stranded in snow with no reception, he tied his drone to get above trees to send an SOS text. And this is from Andy Corbally of the Good News Network for March 16th of 2023. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with another snow survival story here on A Ray of Sunshine. So let's go ahead and get started with story number 9. An experienced mountain-going photographer got stuck in a snowdrift while trying to rescue another stranded vehicle on a remote mountain road in Oregon. He knew he needed to tell someone of his predicament, so he picked up his phone and made a drone call. Attaching an iPhone to the underside of his camera drone, Casey Ryan managed to MacGyver an SOS text by flying the drone above the tree line, where the phone could grab a signal, leading to his rescue the following morning. It was a snowy morning on January 29th when Casey Ryan from Eugene, Oregon, and his friend decided to travel up into the mountains of Willamette National Forest for a bit of hiking. Recounting his rescue story to the Washington Post, Ryan explained he was familiar with many of the roads in the area, stemming from time spent volunteering on a roadside litter cleanup crew. He also frequently went into the mountains of his favorite hobby, photographing the wilderness with his camera and his drone. The conditions that day were icy, but seeing cars come from the opposite direction of the road he was taking, he assumed that everything was okay. Eventually, though, he came upon the stranded driver of a Mercedes van, and when he volunteered to help tow the van out, he reversed into a snowdrift. Continuing on, it was already late afternoon and temperatures was falling as Ryan, his friend, and the other driver tried to dig him out, but the snow was turning to ice on his wheels. Holding a meeting to decide what to do next, Ryan's friend suggested that they use his drone to fly above the tree line and get an SOS text away. It worked, even though the drone was not designed to carry a bulky phone. When the drone landed and they checked to see if their text to Ryan's wife had been sent, they were left mind-boggled when they saw that it had worked. After a night in their cars, Lane County Sheriff's Office arrived in the late morning to rescue them, Ryan's wife having alerted them the night before. Quote, "I've been doing search and rescue since 2007, said Jason Bowman, a search and rescue coordinator with the Lane County Sheriff's Office, who spoke to the Post. And this was by far the most unique way I ever seen somebody call for help." And I think we're about to see a video of him. No problem sharing. Of him and his story. So let's go ahead and take a look at his story here from Inside Edition.
This is the lifesaver right
About the guy being called a real-life MacGyver for inventively attaching his cell phone to a drone to call 911 after he got stuck in the snow. Until now, we've never heard from the man himself. Now he's speaking with Stephen Fabian.
He's the real-life MacGyver who created the phone drone. Casey Ryan was stranded in Willamette National Forest in Oregon's Cascades Mountain Range with no cell phone service and no way of calling for help. Then he had an ingenious idea and typed this text to his wife. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm sending my phone in the sky with my drone. Hope to get this message through. We are stuck 25 miles in the mountains directly at Box Canyon. I just keep praying by the moment I have enough gas to get me through one more night." Then he attached his cell phone to his drone and sent it high into the sky. And it worked. He got cell phone service. That is the drone right there, right?
Oh yeah, this is the lifesaver right here.
The 37-year-old photographer says his drone is always with him just in case he needs it for his work.
A lot of people were concerned because they were thinking there's no way he just has a drone, but it's actually one of the reasons I go to the mountains is to do photography, and this is one of my favorite cameras.
We're going to go ahead and get that thing up in the air.
Casey took us back to the forest to show us how he came up with the inspired idea.
As the propellers went, I gave it a little boost. And as you can see, it's struggling, guys. I got it going, and I shipped it up to the sky.
Was MacGyver your favorite show growing up or something?
No, I'm just always coming up with just little unique twists in projects.
There you go.
And Ryan's phone drone may have saved 2 lives. When rescuers reached him, they were also able to rescue another motorist who had spent multiple days stranded in the snow.
So that's some quick thinking. Very, very good quick thinking. Imagine that you have a drone, you're in the wild, you don't have no cell service, and you type up everything and hope your drone can get some service and to get out that help. And unfortunately for Casey Ryan here, it helped out wonders. That was very smart. And not everybody will have a drone on them, but to do that and send out a message, couldn't get the service, but get your drone out to get a service. Say, hey, we're 25 miles from the mountains. We need help. Very smart thinking by him. And luckily he had that drone that day. So I think drones can be good use if we're stuck in a situation. So how about that? All these snow stories we did the last 2 or 3 weeks, and this is by far clever to get some help from somebody. Just to drive a drone to get cell service, and so and then the help arrived the next day. So that's some incredible stuff, and that was very, very smart thinking by Mr. Casey there. So kudos to him. Stranded in snow with no reception, he tied his iPhone to a drone to get above trees to send an SOS text. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for March 16th of 2023. All right, as we move on to story number 10 this evening. So we got 2 more stories, and then we're going to have a wrap up of all of our positive stories for the month of March. In our next story, this is the one I mentioned. They're going to have a show on this guy here. A new Yellowstone spin-off series dramatizes life of historic Black U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves in the Wild West. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network from March 17th of 2023. If I'm not mistaken, I think I have done a story about Bass Reeves before on the show during Black History Month about season 2? It could have been season 1. But I want to say it was season 2. So, and now they're going to make a kind of a Yellowstone spinoff of probably could be his life or something similar to that. So, We're going to take a look at this story, and this is the one that will have the lengthy video because it has a trailer with it. So we'll get the rate and see how this show will be. All right, so if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with our next story. This is story number 10 of 12. Here we go. The popular television drama Yellowstone is producing a spin-off season to dramatize one of the most legendary figures in the Wild West, Bass Reeves. Interest in Reeves as a historical figure with as much potential for film and television as Wyatt Earp has grown since the turn of the millennium. For those who aren't read up on potentially the greatest lawman of the West, Jen reported on his career and life in 2022 for Black History Month. Pretty sure I have done that story. Born in 1838, Bass Reeves made over 3,000 arrests over a 32-year career as a deputy marshal and shot down 14 criminals in self-defense in a part of the country where 1/3 of all law enforcement agents were killed by outlaws. A freed slave who knocked his enslaver out during a fight over a card game, Reeves fled to the Indian Territory and lived among the Cherokee, Creeks, and Seminoles until he was freed by the 13th Amendment, after which he moved to Arkansas to start a new life as a farmer. Now, nearly 200 years later, British actor David Oyelowo, hopefully I said that right, is set to portray Reeves in a spin-off series of the popular Paramount Pictures TV drama Yellowstone. Following a lackluster reception for its debut, Yellowstone became a sensation over the following 3 seasons, at one point scoring a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. After its modern-day version ran 5 seasons, another series called 1883 followed the characters' ancestors moving to the Yellowstone area along the Oregon Trail. In the new series, set at the same time, entitled simply Bass Reeves, Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan is once again taking the lead, while Dennis Quaid has joined on to play a deputy U.S. Marshal. Perhaps trying to capitalize on the recent success of Corsicana, a feature-length motion picture of Bass Reeves' life, the connection between Reeves and the intergenerational family of the Duttons in Yellowstone is unclear. But it's sure to be a wild ride, and you can learn all about it with this explainer video below. Though there are multiple spoilers of past seasons if you had any desire to start Yellowstone from the beginning. So, if anybody watched Yellowstone, should I play the video and not create any spoilers for you? Please let me know. I'll wait like 30 seconds or something. But if not, I'll go ahead and play the video. And again, it's a little bit lengthy, about 8 minutes. So I guess we're really going to see a good context of the trailer here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the trailer. We'll see how this, see if we're interested in the show here. So here we go.
One of the things that has made the Yellowstone franchise so special is its many spin-offs. But what do we know about the 1883 spin-off? Don't forget that 1883 was there to help start the story of the Duttons, as their ancestors moved to the spot in Montana, where they now have their massive ranch in the present and are still fighting for it going into Season 5. But apparently, 1883 still has another story to tell through the tale of Bass Reeves, the cowboy who is trying to change things in older times. And it's not going to be easy. So, what do we know about the tale he is going to tell? Setting it up. Now that Elsa Dutton's tale of heroics has come to an end, the next installment of Paramount's Yellowstone spin-off, 1883, will move on to develop the storyline of one Bass Reeves, the first black U.S. Marshal in the West. As a marshal, Reeves did plenty of gunslinging. He arrested more than 3,000 criminals and killed 14 people in self-defense. So, it sounds like we're in for a wild ride with 1883, the Bass Reeves story. Reeves' connection to the Duttons and their journey in 1883 is unclear. especially given how 1883 ended. The show followed James, Tim McGraw, and Margaret, Faith Hill, Dutton on their journey west. They were originally heading to Oregon, but their plans changed when tragedy forced them to settle in Montana instead. Their younger son John would go on to be the grandfather of Yellowstone's John Dutton, Kevin Costner. The series about Reeves was originally announced in 2021 as a separate series for Taylor Sheridan and star and producer David Oyelowo, but now it's been absorbed into the Yellowstone universe. But who is Bass Reeves? Reeves is one of the most legendary figures of the Old West, and it's likely you've heard his name before. He has shown up as a character on Winona Earp and Legends of Tomorrow, and was referenced on Watchmen and Justified. He's thought to be the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, and was rumored to have never been injured during any of the arrests he made, despite dealing with dangerous criminals. He even had to arrest his own son, Benny, when Benny murdered his wife. Reeves was a former slave who was recruited to join the U.S. Marshals in 1875. He served in West Arkansas until 1893, so that's where he would have been in 1883. Reeves retired from law enforcement in 1909 and died in 1910. Given that time in and of itself is one of the more important elements of the Yellowstone spin-offs. We can't say for certain just how long the show is going to stay in 1883, as that would limit how much of Bass Reeves' life we would get to see. But you never know. Sometimes a name is just a name, and this franchise has already shown that it can change the titles of their shows if they feel it works for them. How 1883 helps make the tone of its spin-off. 1883 also addressed race and gender in a way that Yellowstone is yet to do. It gave center stage to Elsa, a teenage girl who constantly walked the line between societal expectations and her own heart, and also featured LaMonica Garrett as Thomas, a Pinkerton agent and former slave who had spent most of his life trying to find a place to belong in a harsh world. Elsa and Thomas, like most of the men and women on the show, ended up on parallel opposite journeys. While she toughened up, he softened, and both ended up being saved, in a way, by their open hearts. Both found love out on the plains, and both of their lives were changed by that experience. Garrett told TV Guide that this was not lost on the actors, and they found it refreshing to see that 1883 was heading in a different direction than many other westerns and allowing the men to cry when they needed to. When people see it in the beginning, they think it's like any other western, where the women are doing their thing and the men are spitting and they're gruff. And then you start watching more and more episodes and going, "Wait a minute, that's new," he said. "It's something you might not know you needed, and you might not know why you're really gravitating towards this show. And it's not too much where it's like we're doing it for the sake of being different. You see it gradually building." Garrett loved that he didn't know where Thomas's story was going, even though Thomas's backstory was familiar to a lot of other black cowboys. He was a former slave who fought in the Civil War, and after the Emancipation Proclamation, he moved to Texas because there was more of an equality amongst cowboys and slaves. They were all in fields and handling horses, and cowboy culture wasn't so much black or white, even though there was still racial tension. Your worth was based around how well you can handle yourself in the field. That was true for Thomas, but what set him apart from many other black cowboys was the fact that he was working closely with a white man and having to shoot other white men in his work as a Pinkerton agent. Plus, he got the girl. Thomas's adorably awkward and uncontroversial romance with widow Naomi, Gradiela Brancusi, a Roma immigrant, was an unexpected bright spot on a relatively bleak show, and helped create a 360 character who breathed new life into the idea of a black cowboy in the 1800s. For black actors, we didn't get a lot of shots to tell these stories, so for me, this is my one shot to get it right. So the preparation I put into it was like, don't mess this up, because a lot of people are looking at this, he said. Thomas ended 1883 with a bright new future ahead of him as he and Naomi and her 2 children began their own settlement. There's no word yet on whether Thomas will make an appearance in 1883, the Bass Reeves story, but it won't be surprising if he does. His tale is the perfect segue into the story of Reeves, the legendary first black deputy U.S. Marshal, a man known for making thousands of arrests and never being injured. Perhaps he could use a friend or colleague like Thomas with his newfound vulnerability. The real thing to note here is that if 1883 was willing to talk about some of these issues and showcase the vulnerability of certain kinds of characters, then the Bass Reeves story is no doubt going to focus on that, at least in part, especially given the legend of the man and how people of the time likely weren't too appreciative of all that he was doing. Cast and release date. David Oyelowo is the only announced cast member so far, and will star as Reeves. He is currently 46, and Reeves would have been about 45 in 1883. No release date has been announced for the series yet, but the rest of the Yellowstone extended universe returns in the fall. Season 5 of Yellowstone will premiere November 13th on Paramount Network, and prequel 1923, starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, will debut in December on Paramount+. Given that we don't even know when the series is filming or how long it'll be, it might be that we have to wait a while for news on this front. Plus, there are so many other spin-offs going on that they might be trying to knock one off before starting up on another. That's not to say that this is going to get put on the back burner, a topic that is on the forefront of things, but patience might be the key thing here. Opening up new stories. The other thing that the Bass Reeves stories might just be a starting trend for is doing stories of characters and potentially of places that aren't immediately connected to the line of Duttons. Everything from 1883 to 4 Sixes are all connected to it in one form or another. But the Bass Reeves story is a key difference maker, as they might just take the time periods and figure out how to tell the stories of more legendary figures like Reeves in their universe. If it works out, you just might see more like it down the line. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at 1883's spin-off and what the Bass Reeves story is shaping up to be like? Do you think you'll tune in to the show when it arrives? Or do you think that you'll wait to see what it's like in terms of critical reviews before you tune into it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.
All right. Before I continue on, JXOTX, thank you for being in here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to A Ray of Sunshine. And what I do is I bring in positive stories every week. As one streamer says, get away from the doom and gloom of watching bad news like CNN and all of that, and come in here and get all your positivity, positive stories from here. So I really do appreciate you, and I did put out a shout out for him. Guys, make sure to give JXOTX a shout out. He's a great guitar musician. I know my friend Jenny Bell rated him last night, and very great singer, good singer on the guitar. So make sure to give him a follow, give him a warm welcome in this show. It's so good to see new people in here tonight. So really do appreciate you for being in here. And like I said, stick around. We got 2 more stories and then 1 more video to wrap out all the positive stories from March. And so some good stories left before we wrap up the show tonight. But the like I said, let's forget his Bass Reeves. Thank you. The Bass Reeves story. If you have not seen Yellowstone, I haven't seen Yellowstone, so it's kind of good to see a little bit of a catch up of, hey, how's the show, and all of that, and how's that going to connect with Bass Reeves coming in, and I think they're going to do 1 more spinoff of another show. So the Yellowstone franchise is coming together to bring it in, and it's a good sign that they're also bringing in someone historical, and we get to see what he has done back in the West in 1883. And very, very brave man, I will say, at least, catching criminals and and being in the line of fire with that. So interesting show to see. So it will come out soon, but thought I would bring this up if anybody's a fan of Yellowstone here. So, a new Yellowstone spinoff series dramatizes life of historic Black U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves in the Wild Wild West, and it's from Andy Corbally, Other Good News Network, for March 17th of 2023. All right, we got this story, one more story, and a wrap up of stories for March. So let's continue on with our next story, and this is a nice story here of. Always get these a lot. I read these a lot where siblings come together after they're separated years apart. So, two sisters put up for adoption at the end of World War II finally reunite after 75 years apart. And this is from the Good News Network for March 18th of 2023. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and continue on with our next story for this evening. And here we go. It took 75 years, but two sisters who were placed up for adoption at the end of World War II were finally reunited. Annie, I'm not going to say the last name, but we'll call her Annie, and Sheila Ann Fry, both in their late 70s, have Sheila's daughter-in-law and Annie's son to thank for the reunion, after they took it upon themselves separated to track their long-lost relatives. Adopted in the UK as an infant in 1946, Sheila had no knowledge of who her birth parents were. But using a DNA product, they discovered she had a half-sister who lived in the Netherlands, born just a few months after her to the same father. Sheila's daughter-in-law, Karen, was messaged by Annie's son, Mark, and both sisters did a DNA test which confirmed that they were related. After meeting for the first time last year, Sheila said it was like looking in the mirror and talking to myself. It was amazing. We have the same hobbies and the same medical complaints. It is very strange. She always knew she was adopted because her parents told her I was special because Mommy and Daddy picked me. They said her father was a Canadian soldier who fought against the Nazis in Europe and returned home after the war. Continuing on with the story, the search for Sheila's birth father had remained unsuccessful for 8 years, leading the family to believe they hit a dead end. So here are the sisters, picture of the sisters right here. Again, Annie and Sheila there. As we move on to the story. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, Annie was also trying to uncover her family history after finding out her stepfather was not her biological father. Annie only discovered the truth after overhearing a conversation between relatives and searching through family documents. Annie's biological father was a Canadian soldier who had fought in the World War II and participated in the liberation of the Netherlands from Nazi occupation. Annie's 50-year-old son, Mark, made a breakthrough when a joke between cousins led to him ordering a DNA test. When the email arrived announcing a DNA match, Mark was astonished to discover that his mother had a half-sister. After verifying the DNA connection by testing both sisters, Mark finally told his mother he had found her a sister and arranged a video call in May of 2022. Quote, "They had an amazing conversation," said Mark. "They look the same, they have the same hobbies, it was amazing." The face-to-face meeting took place in the Netherlands a couple months later. Quote, "We both love to crochet and we both knit and do crafts," said Sheila, who joked, adding, "I must say Annie is a lot better than me." Annie agrees that the meeting was very special. We immediately connected, and although the language was a problem, it felt very natural to see and talk to my sister after all these years. It can be difficult to keep in touch as we are not very good with computers and phones. My English is not good, but I am trying to learn. I wish she lived closer. And it's an amazing story. 75 years apart. How would you think? 75 years apart, and now they meet each other for the first time in 75 years. 2022 started with a video call, and now Now they get to see each other. Hopefully they'll find a way of communication, but I'm pretty sure if they're kids, did all of that with the DNA tests and everything, I'm pretty sure they could get communication very easily. So, such an amazing story to see here. So, kudos to the kids with the DNA test to find the connections to the family trees and get to reunite Sheila and Annie there, the two sisters that you see in the picture there. Such an incredible story. So, two sisters put up for adoption at the end of World War II, finally reunite after 75 years apart. And this is from the Good News Network for March 18th of 2023. All right, guys, we are on to our last positive stories for this evening, and then we're going to go to our wrap-up for all the stories from March. And I thank you guys so much for being here. Really do appreciate you guys so much, as we are going to wrap up with a nice, heartwarming story here. As we are going to watch a heartwarming reaction when Ukrainian students get a shocking news they won full college scholarships here in the U.S. And this is from Joe O'Neill. This is kind of a weird name. This is Joe O'Neill from the Good News Network for March 20th of 2023. Welcome, Joe O'Neill. I've never said that name before. All right. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and conclude this story. Again, Ukrainian students getting some scholarships, college scholarships here in the U.S. So let's go ahead and take a look at this story. We bring you the uplifting moments when 5 students in war-torn Ukraine received the life-changing news that they will receive an all-expenses-paid college education to study at a college in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, thanks to the incredible generosity of philanthropist Sam Rose. The retired lawyer and real estate developer provided $2 million for scholarships to Dickinson College that will pay all costs for these students, giving them a chance for a future they may not have dreamed possible. In addition to tuition for all 4 years, the Sam Rose 58 International Scholarship will cover the cost of textbooks, dining and living expenses, including support for travel, health insurance, and other basic needs through the academic year, in addition to support during summer and winter breaks. The 5 students were overwhelmed with emotion upon hearing the news from Dickinson College President John Jones. Quote, "Thanks to Sam's incredible generosity, we are able to offer these students a world-class education away from the war in Ukraine," said Jones, who placed a series of calls to Ukraine so he could personally share the scholarship offer with each student. "We are excited to meet and learn from our new Ukrainian students who will help us build a more interesting and engaging campus community." Dickinson has a long history of supporting students around the world facing strife, including through the Conflict Zone Student Support Fund, which assists international students whose demonstrated financial need has increased because of extreme violence or war in their homeland. More than 1,800 students are currently being supported through scholarships and grants, and more than 3,642 donors have contributed to make this possible, with gifts of all sizes helping to change lives through Dickinson. Including the establishment of the new scholarship, Rose has contributed $17.5 million to the campaign for scholarships. So we are about to watch the reaction of some Ukrainian students here, getting the surprise of their life that they're going to get a scholarship to a college here in the United States. So let's go ahead and take a look at this story of the video.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, Simon.
Hello.
Hello, Anastasia. How are you? It's so good to see you. My name is John Jones. I'm the president of Dickinson College. The good news that I want to bring to you comes in 2 parts. The first part is, as the president of Dickinson College, I'm here to tell you that you've been accepted for admission to Dickinson. We have an alum of our college. His name is Sam Rose. He graduated a long time ago. He's very interested in Ukraine, wants to try to help. So Mr. Rose has decided that he is going to offer to underwrite your education. That means he's going to pay for everything. And that's not just your 4 years here at Dickinson, but that's also your transportation, your expenses, all the incidental expenses. So you are going to have your education fully paid for by Mr. Rose.
I'm so shocked. Just a second. Oh my god, my hands are shaking. Sorry.
Is to offer you a full scholarship. He will pay for your education at Dickinson. That is all 4 years, all the expenses associated with it, and the travel to our country, to Dickinson as well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ooh, I'm in a loss of words.
To pay for your education, and that would be all 4 years. That would be all of your expenses. That would be for your travel expenses, your living expenses, everything in connection with the education, and give you a monthly stipend as well. That's for all 4 years until you graduate. So that's the news that I bring to you today.
I am shocked. I am incredibly grateful for this opportunity, and I'm about to cry.
I actually don't have, I don't know what to say. I'm really thrilled because Dickinson was my top choice.
My God, I'm just so excited and surprised. I don't got any words to say. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm so I can say how happy I am and how thankful I'm for you for meeting me here, for telling me in person, not just by paper. So thank you so much.
I think I would definitely come here because I really wanted to. And I was so surprised with this opportunity, to be honest. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
So just see the happiness on their faces, man. That's pretty incredible. Get the president to say, hey, 4 years paid, tuition's paid, and also we're going to pay for your travel. Everything's paid for. Just come in, get an education, do well. Just an incredible story there from Dickinson College and from Sam Rose and his scholarship, what he has done. So kudos to him for helping these 5 students out and just helping them out. They're having a tough time in Ukraine with the war, and just to see them, hey, could go to Dickinson and pay for your education and everything. That kind of takes a lot off them, just to hear that. So, what a great story to end out with there. So, watch heartwarming reaction when Ukrainian students get shocking news they won full college scholarship in the U.S. And this is from Joe O'Neill from the Good News Network for March 20th of 2023. All right, guys. Now we're gonna go to our last part of the night. We are going to wrap up with our top 5 positive stories for the month of March. You might get to see some of the stories that we might have seen tonight on this. So, just a good wrap up for the month of March before we head into April. So, after these nice little commercials here, we're going to go ahead and close out with the top 5 positive stories for the month of March. And then when we come back, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. The top 5 positive stories for the month of March.
2023 has given us a lot of positives to warm our hearts. So counting down on the positives of the third month of the year. Here are the top 5 positive news stories of March 2023. If you like the video and find the content meaningful, then kindly press the super thanks button and contribute whatever you can to the channel. Your contributions will help us create more engaging and informative positive videos. Number 5. Mom recycles a ton of trash with backyard public recycling center that collects things the city doesn't. An English woman has found her calling and recycled more than 2,000 pounds of trash after setting up a drop-off point in her garden shed for people to leave items that garbage men don't collect. Liz Pinfield Wells built the DIY recycling center following the birth of her third child after she learned she couldn't recycle his baby food pouches. Along with the pouches, certain food packaging and even toothbrushes were all excluded from her town's curbside recycling service. Inspired to take action, she set up a drop-off point at the end of her driveway in the town of Dolly, Shropshire, and encouraged the public to leave their mixed recycled items. Since starting her green project 4 years ago, Liz has recycled 2,600 pounds of trash, split between 30 different categories of recyclable waste that's not taken by trash collection, and raised thousands for her local community in the process. Every month, she sends off the trash and vacuum-packed bags to TerraCycle, a firm that shreds it into small plastic pellets to be made into other items such as watering cans and benches. The weight of the junk is then converted into points for money, which can be paid out twice a year to a charity or sports organization of her choice. In the last 3 years, Liz has raised more than 1,000 pounds, which she has donated to her 14-year-old daughter Zoe's gymnastic group to buy new equipment. She has also donated a sum of the money to another local charity to buy wood chips for their community garden. Liz started a Facebook group for her Eco Hub recycling shed, which now has more than 1,000 members. Number 4. Students raised $270,000 so 80-year-old janitor can retire from Texas high school. High school seniors managed to secure $250,000 for their sweet 80-year-old janitor who had to come out of retirement after his rent went up. The money was raised through a GoFundMe page, which started out as a simple goal of $10,000 but quickly took on a goal of its own. Several seniors at Callisburg High School in Texas noticed their school had a new janitor, Mr. James, an 80-year-old former retiree whose rent had gone up $400 and needed a job to support it. Believing they could use their knowledge of the internet and social media to help out, they got the idea to open a GoFundMe campaign to help 80-year-old Mr. James get back to doing 80-year-old things. A single TikTok video was posted by senior Grayson Thurman showing Mr. James cleaning the holes, along with a GoFundMe page aiming to help James continue to live comfortably. Raising $10,000 in 12 hours, most of the donations came from students. Local news reported on the fund drive when there was still a 5-digit sum on the table, but it had to be turned off after passing $270,000 in order to get Mr. James the money as soon as possible. Donations came from all over the country and even beyond, wishing the short-term janitor a happy retirement and congratulating the students for their brilliant idea. Number 3. Turkish stadium sees teddy bears rain down on field for earthquake victims. In a moment that will bring tears to your eyes, a packed Istanbul soccer stadium rained teddy bears down onto the field in donation and support for the children affected by the earthquakes. At exactly the 17th second of the 4th minute of the match, which corresponded to the time of the first earthquake, Beşiktaş JK supporters threw stuffed animals, scarves, and other toys onto the pitch, all of which will be delivered to the children living in the earthquake-hit areas with Beşiktaş Club aid trucks. Often soccer fans will celebrate or memorialize world events, tragedies, or celebrations when a particular minute arrives on the clock which corresponds to it. Some of the stuffed animals had cards or notes attached to the outside. The event was organized before the Turkish Super League football match between Beşiktaş and Antalyaspor and was called "This Toy Is My Friend." Players applauded the supporters when for a few seconds, plush toys fell like rain onto the pitch before the match was paused for a cleanup. Beşiktaş tweeted a video of volunteers, players, and other stadium staff packing the bears and toys into transport bags. Number 2. Volunteer knitters are finishing craft projects for loved ones who have passed away. An American nonprofit is helping bereaved families recover from loss, one crocheted sweater at a time. Loose Ends is a niche yet important outlet for those whose mothers and grandmothers left behind unfinished knitting or crochet work. Their volunteer knitters finish projects left behind by those who have passed away. While it seems too specific to be of much use, Loose Ends has already connected 5,000 volunteers or finishers with families who have lost a knitting member, and they've been able to complete 20 projects, with another 200 in the works. For the finishers, it's an opportunity for their talents to be put to seriously appreciated work and perhaps make a new friend or two. It isn't just knitting and crochet projects which Loose Ends manages, but basket weaving, embroidery, quilting, sewing, rug weaving, cross-stitch, needlework, and felting. Headquartered in Maine and Seattle, Loose Ends was started by two avid knitters, Jen Simonik and Macy Kaplan, who say that friends would often ask them to finish blankets, sweaters, or other projects left undone by deceased loved ones. The company provides finishing services for Dutch, French, German, Hebrew, Spanish, and Czech-speaking families. Number 1. 29 species have recovered enough in Australia to be taken off endangered list. A large research project studying endangered species in Australia has tallied 29 recovered species, all animals that can be safely delisted from the country's endangered species list. Australia's Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act currently lists 446 species of animals in genuine need of protection, but 29 of those are no longer in need: 15 mammals, 8 birds, 4 frogs, a reptile, and a fish. Among these critters are the golden, western barred, and eastern barred bandicoots, western quoll, sooty albatross, waterfall frog, Flinders range worm lizard, yellow-footed rock wallabies, greater bilby, humpback whale, growling grass frog, Murray's cod, and others. Australia has been a focus of endangered species conservation for decades because so many of the animal varieties are found nowhere else, and the fact that 29 of them are no longer endangered is a milestone for celebration. If you like the video and find the content meaningful, then kindly press the super thanks button and contribute whatever you can to the channel. Your contributions will help us create more engaging and informative positive.
All right, so those are your top 5 positive stories for the month of March to wrap up all the good stories here in the month of March. I think I did the janitor one. I did the knitting one. The knitting one was kind of nice. And the Bears. The Bears that they threw in the stadium there. And the number 5 and number 1 were all for conservation there. So very interesting top 5 there to end the month of March there. So good month of March. A lot of good stories in the month of March as well. So very good stuff. All right, well, guys, this is the end of the show. I really do appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to wrap up the show now. Always got to put up the plugs for my Wednesday people, Mental Health Wednesday, but we got 2 special shows going on Wednesday. Oh my God, Jenny has been. Jenny, I'm in the hospital right now for a CT scan. Okay, well, prayers. Good luck on the scan. Hopefully nothing is found. Hopefully everything's good. It's so good to see you, Jenny. Oh, you missed out. We had who we had in here? We had the other Ray in here. We had oh, what's her name? I have to get her name right. Kauai Bello is in here as well. So it's so good to see you in here, and I gave you a shout out earlier, and I'll go ahead and give you a shout out again. I love this beautiful soul, Ray. Thank you so much. What is the topic? Well, I just did positive stories. I just did 12 positive stories, and I wrapped up with some videos for the month of March. So yeah, I'm just wrapping up the show though. But it's so good to see you in here. But Make sure to catch the replay. You'll definitely love the replay. It's a very lengthy show. It usually go 2 hours, but today I did more reading than videos today. So 12 good stories. Make sure to check them out. But so good to see Jenny in here. Jenny Bell. Let me go get you a shout out one more time for you. Because guys, she has a very talented voice. Very talented voice. I go on her stream. She's like, Raymond, what do you want? I'm like, anything you want to play, Jenny. Anything you want to play. I am happy. So, but she has a very good voice. So make sure to follow Jenny Bell Music. So good to see her in here. And also, we'll get some shout outs as well at the end of the broadcast here. But I got to mention some people real quick. So, our first person we're going to mention is Tim. Tim Conrad, Gemma. Make sure to follow the Mental Health Hour, guys. Let's go back and put the screen up. Make sure to. Thank you for the 100 bits. Do appreciate it. Then post some of your thoughts in Insta. Follow your posts. I have to catch up on my Insta, Jenny, so you might get some stuff soon. So, you might get some stuff on Instagram soon. I did a little adventure last week, and I forgot to post it. So, all right, the Mental Health Hour. Tim Conrad and Gemma. Tim's a good supporter here on A Ray of Sunshine. He does the Mental Health Hour. Tim and Gemma, they do the Mental Health Hour tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK, and then Jenny Bell's time, 6 a.m. Philippines time. So make sure to tune in. Their next episode will be Women, Stigmas, and Mental Health. So make sure to tune in. Mental Health Hour is a great, great show. And I don't know if I can do it again. We're going to try the shout out thing again for Twitch here. If not, I can do a regular shout out. So make sure to give Tim a follow. Will it work? Let's see. You have to wait. So we're going to use the regular one. All right. We're going to use the regular one. Hang on, guys. Well, you don't have no mods. Okay. So there you go. There's Tim's. There's Tim's link there. Make sure to check out the Mental Health Hour. That is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK, and 6 a.m. Philippines time. And also, Jim in Chicagoland, another supporter of the show here. He actually did a promo. Usually he does Catalyst, and we're going to go ahead and put Catalyst up real quick, or Jim up real quick, because he does 2 shows, by the way. Are you using OBS now, Ray? I am. I am using OBS now. I've done StreamYard, and now I'm now connected with OBS now, since I now got 2 computers, 2 screens. So it's not overloading my OBS now, which I kind of love now. So now I'm loving OBS more. So, okay, we'll try to go. Wish you well, be awake by the... All right. Jim in Chicagoland. Make sure to follow him. He does Catalyst tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Usually will be under a candle, and you tell about your day. However, this will be a special Catalyst tomorrow night. We are going to remember Periscope 2 years later. 2 years ago, March 31st of 2021, Periscope shut down. A lot of good streamers were on there. Lots of memories. I was part of it. I didn't stream much, though I did go into people's broadcasts on Periscope. So if you're a Periscope person and you have memories, or you want to jump in and join Jim's broadcast, make sure to check out his broadcast tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and 10 a.m. Philippines time. And Memory Periscope 2 years later. So make sure to tune in. I saw you when waiting here at last. Yes. I was like, Jenny's here. She came in. So thank you for being here, Jenny. Thank you so much. So Jim in Chicagoland, and he also does trivia Saturday nights as well. So glad to be in his trivia cast last Saturday, and I probably will be again this Saturday since it's WrestleMania weekend. So make sure to check Saturday Night Trivia. Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Also, great guy. Great guy. And he kind of helped me along with live streaming as well. So, and of course, Jenny Bell's in here. I will check Jim. Yeah, let me do a shout out for Jim real quick. I probably can use the regular, Twitch shout out. See, I'm burping here. Jenny's like, yes, he burped on his stream. So, hold on. Give me something wrong. Come on. Jim in Chicago. That should work. That should work. There we go. So, easy access to follow Jim. Great guy over there in Chicago. And he does 2 great shows here on Twitch. Wednesday nights with Callus and Saturday nights with Saturday Night Trivia. Give him a follow. Great. Haha, we burp. Let's collab next time. Let's think of a topic. Hey, I'm open for it. I am open for it. So just let me know. Speaking of that, Frank, he was in here earlier. I have to talk to him. He talks about he wants to do a WrestleMania show. So I'll get with Frank, and if he wants to do it, I can go live and we'll do the WrestleMania show if he wants to do it. So, unfortunately, he's watching wrestling himself right now instead of watching me, but it's fine. So, but Jenny, thank you for being in here. Really do appreciate you. Hope everything goes well at the hospital. Yeah, but the time, like 12 a.m. Philippines time. Wait a minute, 12 a.m. Philippines time? Oh, yes, so 12. So that'll be 12 noon for what I am. Yeah, we got to work the time thing. What is your Discord? I'm going to send you... Oh, good thing. You know what? Never mind, because I can send that to you. Hold on. Thank you so much. I'll be now on CT Scan. Okay. There's my Discord. And if you don't get it, I'll send you a private message on Discord. I'll send you an invite link. But that's my Discord there. Make sure to check out my Discord. Thank you for mentioning that. Because all the stories and videos that were showed today will be on my Discord chat. So check that out. All right, Jenny, have fun. Have fun. Hope everything goes well with your CT scan. Hope everything goes well. Hopefully the voice is well and all of that. So sending you some good luck, Jenny. So thank you. And yeah, thank you to everybody. Jenny, Ella, Frank was in here. Sharon was in here. Chris was in here. A lot of everybody was in here. Ray, the other Ray was in here. And a big shout out to Koala Bell. I think she's falling a little bit short on the affiliate front. So make sure to give her a follow. Gotta go. I'm inside the CT scan room. Love you, Ray. I love you too, Jenny. There you go. Love you too. Thank you for being in here. So we're going to wrap up this show now. So thank you guys for being in here. Thank you to all the lurkers. And thank you, Jenny, for the 100 bits as well. So thank you guys so much for being here. Really do appreciate you guys. All right. Let's see who we can raid. I don't have many people to raid. So I wonder if I should just shut it down for the night. You know what? We're going to shut it down for the night. How about that? We'll just shut it down for the night. Probably ain't gonna raid nobody tonight. So again, I will be off next Tuesday. I'll be off next Tuesday, so I will not be back until April 12th, if I'm correct on that. Let's see. Got my calendar up here. April 11th. I will be back live April the 11th, but I could be doing some other live streams soon, so we'll see. But Ray of Sunshine will be back live until April 11th, alright? So, till then, be positive, stay safe, be kind to one another, take care, And hopefully y'all have a great rest of your week. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. And yeah, let's go ahead and end the stream.